Now, the climbing season has just started on Mount Everest and 2 records have already been broken.
Yes, the Nepali Sherpa, Kami Rita Sherpa, has now scaled it more than anyone else, 29 times, while the British climber Kenton set the record for a foreigner, marking his 18th successful peak.
We're going to speak to Kenton in just a moment, but first let's see him on Everest. And just a warning, not for the faint-hearted.
Ooh, a new triple set of ladders. One of the biggest ones we've come across. We don't just step out the door and take risks willy-nilly. Everything we do is calculated. Now, we get these ladders which we span across some of the bigger crevasses that we can't find a way around. And despite that, this is my 9th straight year here, so I must have crossed these ladders dozens and dozens of times. I still don't like them. I still don't feel comfortable with them. You get on them and you're holding these little bits of rope and your feet and your crampon feet are tinking across the rungs. And you look down and some of these things are just bottomless. Nothing you can do to take away the danger. It is a dangerous thing. We kind of like that little buzz of adrenaline that comes with risk. But statistically, it's not as dangerous as some of the other parts of Everest.
Well, it looked dangerous enough to me.
Fancy it?
No. Kenton joins us now from Kathmandu. Morning, Kenton. I mean, 18 summits. I can't even imagine what that's like. It's basically like a mountaineer's lifetime, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but pretty much. I mean, it's 20 years since I first went to Everest. So 2004 was my first expedition there. I've literally this morning come back from Everest Base Camp. And hard to believe, yeah, 18 ascents over those years. It's one of those things that just happens, I suppose.
That must be the first time anybody on this programme has ever said, I've just nipped back from Everest Base Camp. Thanks for squeezing us in. 18 summits, 18 times. I mean, is every time, every experience very different?
Yes, it is. I mean, I'm an Everest guide. This is what I do for work. I professionally lead other people to the summit. And you know, all of my clients are different. So every time you go there, yes, the route is the same. You know generically what's lying ahead, but the conditions are different, the weather is different, and the client is different. So many people will say to me, why don't you go climb other mountains? Well, I do, but Everest is the big draw each year, and I love it, and each ascent is different.
And Kenton, what is it that keeps you going back to Everest? I wonder, are you slightly addicted?
Yeah, I think I am. Yes, I mean, I've already said it's work. I'm an Everest guide, but I love the Sherpa people. I love working with my Sherpa friends. The culture, the Himalayas, or the Nepali Himalayas, are very, very special. And let's face it, Everest is the highest point on the planet. And there is a certain draw to that. I mean, the view, unfortunately, we didn't get one this year because it was very, very cloudy. But the view is spectacular. The climb is underrated. We don't hear enough about how good the climb is. And you put all that together, and the day that I don't come back to Everest will be the day that I will really, really miss it.
Can you ever imagine a time when you're not still going up there? Has it just kind of become part of your life now?
It is part of my life. I mean, my wife, tongue-in-cheek, says, Everest is my mistress. But yeah, I was sat at base camp only this morning thinking, wow, the day that I don't come here, I'm really going to miss the view, the ambience, the environment that there is at base camp, the community that there is there. So, I mean, one should never say never. But there is going to be a day that I stop coming to Everest. I will still come to the Himalayas. I will still come to Nepal. But one day Everest is perhaps not going to be quite such a focal point of my life. And maybe that will be in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. I don't know.
Kenton, you talk about climbing Everest with such confidence. Are there moments, though, when you realise just how close to death you might be?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've got 2 young children. It's always on my mind that if we make a mistake, if we become blasé or complacent, with our decision making or things that we do, there is a possibility of dying. We summited, myself and Graham, Chris, and Dorji and the Sherpa team. We summited Monday morning, Sunday morning even, and we climbed past 3 bodies, and that really keeps you focused and that really keeps you sharp. I think it was the same day or perhaps the day after our ascent, 2 Mongolian climbers disappeared. They have been found, and unfortunately, they also have passed away. So death is very, very close on Everest. There's no rescue up high. So you've got to be totally on your game. And I think that knowledge that death is so close, that does definitely focus the mind, and it makes you very considerate of the actions that you take.
Kenton, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You stay safe, won't you, up there,
I will.
out there. And thank you for sharing your passion with us.